Hi, crafty creators. I'm Shelly. Welcome to my channel. So for today's project, we're going to be creating this amazing, humongous birdhouse. Imagine how many birds that you could fit in this incredible birdhouse. After we are done creating the birdhouse, I'm going to do the painting and decorating on it before we wrap this project up. So that being said, let's get to crafting. Okay, the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create the base to this birdhouse, and we're going to do a 10 by 6 piece of wood, and this will be the base.
We're going to draw a line for 10 inches.
So basically what we're doing is we're building a puzzle. Now what we're doing is we're cutting the front and the back. The front is the one that will have the hole in it for the birds, and this one is 24 inches. The back will be 18 inches. This is the one that's 24. Now this one will be the back. We measured at 18. Obviously, we're fans of DeWalt. We like our DeWalt tools. This wood right here is 2 inches thick by 6 inches wide, and these will also be 18 inches. So the height will be 18, just like the back. So that was the first one, and we're gonna do the second one. So we have the two sides, and we have the front and the back, and we have the base. This particular one will be going outside. The next step actually is going to be to angle the front and the back, because remember, it's going to have a tin roof on it. So this is for the peak. So draw a line right down the center. So this is the creation of the first pitch. This was the front. When we go to do the back, I'm going to show you guys a super duper easy way to find the center of an odd width of wood. That way you don't have to worry about the math and the measuring and all that. But this is going to be a 45-degree angle. So that's the first one, and then we have to rotate the saw to do the second one. Look at that. That is a perfect pitch if I ever saw one. All right, so with this pitch, we're going to show you an easier way to find the center of the wood without necessarily using the measuring tape. Now, you're going to want to use the measuring tape after, just to make sure that you're accurate. But we'll go ahead and use the angle and a pencil, and we'll find the center that way first.
You take your corner of your angle right here, and you draw a line. You draw from this corner to this corner. And we're going to do the same thing over here. This will determine the center.
Okay, now you're going to use the measuring tape to see how accurate.
Spot on it.
So there you go. As you can see, it's perfect. So now we just have to cut the 45-degree angle.
First, you want to draw this line. Now, where we drew our line right here, the center, you want to take a 45-degree angle, and you want to draw from this point of your center line 45 degrees down. And you do the other side the same way.
For those of you that don't know, this is called an angle. And could you explain how a person would find a 45 degree on a piece of wood?
This is straight up 90 degrees. This is straight horizontal 90 degrees. So in order to find half of 90 degrees, that's 45. That's what this angle right here is, straight. 45 degrees.
So it is very important, you guys, if you want to find the 45, you always want to find the very center point of your width of wood first.
Draw from here, your point right here at the end. You draw it straight down. And you take the other side. Again, point here, X marking the spot.
So when you're doing your 45, you want to make sure that you go from the center to the edge.
To make your line, your center line, you line your speed square up with this dot that is the center of this of the block.
And that'll help that's kind of like drawing a guide.
And then when you make your angles, take your speed square angle again.
Go right to the edge of your center.
So right here.
and then you do the opposite on the other side.
Right, and this is where you're going to cut from. You're not going to cut from the center or the other angles. You're going to cut from this if you want your perfect angle.
So as you can see, this right here would become your roof or your pitch or your angle for whatever you need. Little information right there, because those squares can be very confusing. Very handy dandy nifty little thing. This angle is for the back of the house. We've already done the front, so this is creating the pitch for the back. And such a fun project. If you guys have any teenage boys or girls that would enjoy this, this is a great project for them. That is the back. So now that we have the front done and the back done, now we're going to do the sides. Now the sides don't get angles, they get bevels. Beveling is a totally different thing than angling. So you guys are getting a crash course today in two different kinds of cuts. You've got the angles, which we just finished, and now we're gonna do bevels.
First, you set your saw back at zero.
So if you have a specific type of saw, like a chop saw, which is what this is, or miter saw, there'll be a knob in the back. Now, some people have different kinds of saws, so this may not pertain to you. But if you do have the kind of saw that does bevels, then basically what you want to do is turn your blade, is what you're doing. You're going to move it to 45 degrees, and as you saw, you're turning your blade. And that is what is going to give you that beautiful bevel. Now, keep in mind that the bevel only goes one direction. So if you have, let's say, something that needs a bevel on both ends, you're going to have to flip your wood. So you almost have to do a little bit of imagination thinking in your mind. Otherwise, you could bevel the wrong way, and then you're going to waste your wood. Okay, this is just literally a right angle bevel. So this is going to be a step-by-step tutorial on how to do this.
What we're going to do is we're going to create a 45-degree bevel angle. So what you want to do first is take your wood to your side, take your speed square.
So I see that you're lining it up with the corner.
Go from this corner, draw your 45-degree angle. You'll take your speed square again, and you want to draw a straight line. You see
from where you made your little mark with the pencil on the side. Okay.
You see where the top of the 45-degree angle is?
Yes.
This is where you want to line up at to draw your straight line.
Now we don't cut this straight, okay?
No.
Because I want you to remember that this saw now has this beautiful angle on it.
You want to make sure that your blade is going to hit this line.
This piece of the blade right here is literally right on that line. So that was considered a right angle. So basically all bevels are right angles, correct?
Correct.
All right, since we're talking about the bevels, I wanted to show you guys exactly what we were talking about. This is a guide piece that we created because when you're doing a bunch of bevel cuts for baseboard, as you see, we have a left and we have a right. Now, in order to create this one, we had to flip the wood upside down and over that way to create that. So this is our guide piece, and believe me, we use it. I suppose a professional carpenter would never have to rethink that. Now, if you guys end up getting confused or needing to ask questions, you can comment below, or you can send a personal email to yourcraftynanny@gmail.com. Now we've got the two pieces. Basically now all of our actual cuts are done and we can build our birdhouse. I think before building it though, we need to go ahead and put the hole in for the birds. Okay, so before we build our puzzle, we're going to drill the hole. I have this bit right here, and this is actually for drilling holes indoors for handles. I understand that it's a little bit big for a birdhouse, but let me tell you, this birdhouse would be good for a pigeon, a dove. Okay, so I'm going to measure 10 3/4 down from the peak, and I'm going to make a dot, and then I'm going to draw an angle kind of close to that dot. So as you can see, I have an angle going across that dot right there. Then I'm going to line the angle up with the beginning of my line, and I'm going to go straight across from there. Okay, now what I'm trying to do is find the X. Now what we'll do is we'll flip our angle this direction, and we want the edge of this to line up with this line. And with that being said, X right here should mark the center of the wood. This is where I will put the center of that bit. This bit right here, I want to make sure that it's right on that dot. Now I'm flipping it over because it's just about done. Here is our bird hole. So there we go. Now we will build the birdhouse. I don't want a bunch of screws showing on the outside. When you're looking directly at the birdhouse, you don't want a whole bunch of screws protruding here and there. So I decided to use the strong ties, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put them in like this, okay? And because I'm doing it like this, I'm going to put this side in first, and then when we get the other sides on, we can just drill straight down in. Okay, very important that this is level, okay? You want to make sure that this is even, and it is. Now that that side is done, we're going to do the exact same thing with this piece of wood. Now, if you guys are wondering why I don't tighten the very first screw, is because if things don't line up, I need to be able to correct it. And I will typically, I'll tighten down the second one because obviously I have it right. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'd love to have you part of the family. And if you like this video, we would appreciate a thumbs up. I sure enjoyed making it. Now we can attach the sides to the front. So I'm going to put the left on first. Now I'm just going to put one screw in each of these to get it started. I've decided to go ahead and use the strong ties again on the top left and the bottom right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach them to the inside of this 2x4, and then this can set like this, and it'll be attached to the 2x4 here, and then the top of this I can drill into with no problem. And then we'll just repeat process on the bottom. I'll go ahead and add a couple more screws on the 2x4 right there. So what I'm going to do is I'll attach this right here to the 2x4, just like I did that one, only the opposite. So that's going to get attached to here, and then the top one will get attached to here. I'm going to get one in the bottom and then one in the top. Once I do that, the rest will just kind of fall into place. We have our 8-inch section. We want to butt it up against the back. I'm going to drill pilot holes in the bottom. I'm going to put in the first screw.
Perfect, baby.
The Crafty Nanny way, folks. Crafty Nanny is self-taught in everything I do. We're gonna paint this, and then we're gonna cut the tin for the roof. I'm gonna be using linen white chalk paint. You can treat your wood if this is actually gonna sit outside. Like I said, mine stays indoors for decor. I'm also going to be highlighting it with pavement black and country gray. I'll have a little bit of pavement black on one side and country gray. If your birdhouse is going to go outside, you want to choose paint that is not toxic to your bird. So while it's still a little bit tacky, I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to dip it into my pavement black. Then I'm just going to kind of grab a little bit of the gray, like this. And I'm going to highlight the edges with a darker color. See what I'm doing? And then I'm going to blend it. And the reason that I do it while it's still tacky is because it blends so much prettier when it's tacky. Now remember what I did. I grabbed my black, pretty hefty amount, and then I just pulled in a little bit of gray. Just pulled it in, just lightly, and then went like this. But I'm going to concentrate more on these edges with the dark black. I'm highlighting, and then a blend. And again, you want touch this with your brush, by the way, when you blend. Barely touch. So there's the paint job, you guys. All right, so remember earlier we were talking about creating a perch? Well, craftynanny has to be original. I found this in my shed. I am going to use this as a perch, and I'm gonna put it right here. There is the perch for the birds. Okay, so this is beautiful what we did, by the way. I really like that. So now we're onto the roof. Now, I am doing 2 roofs on this. I'm going to do one back here. By the way, I pre-cut this piece, and that's gonna go right here. The second roof will go on top of that one. I decided to use cut tacks. I think that they look kind of oldish. By the way, it does go through the tin. So I'm gonna put 2 on each side, then we'll go do the big roof. You know what? Maybe I'll just do the 2. The reason is because they won't be seen when the other roof goes on. I think I'll just do 2. Please wear gloves. Do not do it the craftynanny way. The craftynanny way right here with cutting the tin without gloves is stupid. We have our section ready to rock and roll. I'm gonna use the tin snips on the little lines, and then I'm gonna use my Dremel for the long line. I have found it to be so much easier, and I can be a little bit more steady with the Dremel. Okay, I'm hoping that it fits right into place. So now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna decide how long we want this. I'm kind of thinking I would have liked an overhang. I like that way better. So we're gonna go down 4. So we wanna measure 4 inches down from here and make our mark. And then we wanna measure 4 inches down from the other side and make our mark, like so. We'll go ahead and cut this out. As much as I love the rusty look, I'm curious what it would look like if I took some steel wool to it. I don't want to paint the roof because I want it to look old. But also, you guys, when you do this, please be careful around the edges. Look, we got a hole in the roof. Do you think the birds will mind, or should we patch it? We're gonna go ahead and create a peak by bending this in half, and then we'll hammer it down. And then carefully, without getting yourself cut, you want to open it back up. And the reason I did this is to make it easier for my hands to go. All right, now the last step is to do the decorating. I've got these vines that I chose, which I thought would be pretty. Now remember, this is not going outside, this is staying inside the house. Now I did go to the store and look for a bird, and I did not find one. What I want to do is put a perched bird right here. Well, there you guys have it. We did step by step. We walked you through everything on how to build this beautiful, heavy birdhouse. This is how you would want to do it if you were keeping it indoors. If you were wanting to do it outdoors, I would recommend, you could still do something like this, but I would honestly recommend just putting a dowel right below the hole for the bird to perch on. Other than that, it is beautiful. It came out amazing, and I can't wait to display it in the house. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. So with that being said, I hope you liked the video, and stay safe out there, and I will see you next week. Bye!